Welcome to the Perfect Place to Put a Practice podcast by Scott McDonald and DrDemographics.com, the best source of demographic, psychographic, and marketing information for professionals.
Amazon is really messing it up for demographers, and that's because they're doing something that you really should know about. This is Scott McDonald, and welcome to the Perfect Place to Put a Practice podcast. The search for a new second headquarters for Amazon has sparked an intense interest among demographers as they try to second and, well, even third guess the decision of the high-tech giant. At stake are more than 50,000 high-paying, high-technology jobs. Anyone who can get ahead of the curve in the big decision, including those who recommend locations for dental practices will greatly help their clients in their planning, as well as in their investing. Now, by some estimates, this will dramatically increase the economy in whatever city this center lands in. Now, please understand, we expect to see far more large plants, centers, employment opportunities in places like this. Now, obviously, it would be good for your own purpose to know this, but I really want to use this as a means to tell you all about how today's major employers think about where to put large employment centers. And this may impact where you are going to want to go. This can certainly help you over time. So ultimately, the finalist cities have been announced, and we can start speculating a little on how this and similar decisions are being made. Because Amazon is a publicly traded company, there is, a little speculation on the reasons that certain cities will be rejected and some included in the next round of decisions. Now listen, I assume that the finalists will come down to 5 and then eventually only 2. And no, we cannot take out an element of politics in the final decision. On the other hand, because it is a publicly traded company, as are many of these large new employers, there has to be some rationality to how this decision is to be made. You can't say, well, the people of this city or this region are too conservative or too liberal for my tastes. You see, the bottom line is that the choice must be made somewhat upon business rationality. Now, that's a big deal. Business rationality, there have to be reasons, and you have to be able to defend them. Now, the finalists in the Amazon decision are Atlanta, Austin, Texas, Boston, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Denver, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, Miami, Montgomery County, Maryland, Nashville, Newark, New Jersey, New York City, Northern Virginia, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, North Carolina, Toronto, Canada, and Washington, D.C. Now, there are some pretty simple facts about the finalists that cannot be ignored. Among the primary criteria will be the following, and please pay attention because this is going to matter to a lot of big companies setting up new places. 1, sufficient population available to serve as skilled workers. They have to be available right now rather than taking 10 years to attract to the area. Amazon set these criteria that they have to look for a metropolitan area of at least 1 million people. Now, keep this in mind. Roughly 1 in 3 metro areas with this size and population are on the list. 1 in 3. Number 2, a place where these workers can be enticed to live. In other words, people have to want to go there, and this includes weather, recreation, transportation, and cost of living. The West doesn't have many sites for this reason, it appears. You see, only Los Angeles and Denver made the cut. And this really could be reasonably because they want an alternative to Seattle on the West Coast as their current headquarters. Number 3, locations that will allow for expansion and new development. This location will not be in an isolated location where there are miles of empty space surrounding the center. Neither can it be placed where there is no room to grow. It is going to be a compromise. Number 4, accessibility to transportation infrastructure, which includes ground and rail as well as air. Trust me, they can really improve a current airport. Several southern cities are on the list, by the way, which is interesting. Atlanta, Austin, Dallas, Nashville, Miami, and Raleigh. And note that Raleigh, but not Charlotte, made the cut, which is significant. Indianapolis or Columbus, well, you can take the fact that you're on the list as a form of marketplace validation, particularly regionally. In other words, it could really help them for bids for other large employers, even if they don't make the final. Demographers are claiming that Amazon is doing some head fakes for several reasons, and I won't get into those reasons, just the fact exists. And let me tell you why I believe that some of these finalists will not be seriously considered, which is probably the biggest head fake of all. Now, of course, I could always be wrong. I've been wrong before. And one of these cities will possibly be chosen, but it would be worth considering my thinking and the thinking of other demographers as you consider places to put your own practice. Now let's go through these one at a time. Atlanta. Now Atlanta proper is not likely going to be the place where the surrounding areas are very promising based upon the 4 criteria I listed above. So it may not be in the city, but it will be near it. Austin, Texas is very much like Atlanta. The high-tech sector in both of these cities is just excellent. Not so promising are Boston and Chicago. The cost of doing business, taxes, and very high rates of government regulation in both areas is exceptionally high. Does it matter if they won't let you drink a large cola? I could. Now sure, I could be wrong, but there are many times that these are strikes against them, I believe. Columbus, Ohio has been growing its tech centers, the educational attainment, the universities, and the transportation accessibility. And I think Columbus, Ohio is a serious potential site. Dallas, and I also would include Fort Worth in the surrounding region, have proven to be serious players whenever there is a bidding of this type for a large business to relocate. They know how to do this. They also have the land surrounding the metropolitan area. They've got the people as well, and the cost of living, which is moderately low. They also have transportation pretty well down pat. Denver, on the other hand, well, really the only thing against them is the west thing. I think Amazon wants their presence further east and south, but you gotta love Denver. Indianapolis. Now this may surprise you, but I think this area just outside of Illinois and just beyond the reach of Chicago is a likely finisher in the top cities. It is possible to dump the Rust Belt image while using, well, some of these Class A locations that it's got. Los Angeles. The cost would be astronomical and a definite loser right from the start. There is a reason that California is losing so many major employers, and while the middle and upper middle class are leaving. Now, Miami. There's a certain logic to this location. It's attractive as a destination. It's on the opposite side of the U.S. from Seattle. It has great infrastructure. It would open up a lot of employment from South and Central America, and that can't hurt a large company. But the property expenses would be very high, as would the ecological problems in Florida. But I still think this community has great potential. Montgomery County, Maryland. Look, I love the place. I've got great personal affection for the community, but I have a hard time considering the high taxes, high salaries, and the general mire and muck that a place so near D.C. would have. Nashville. Now, this is a great emerging high-tech city and a growing state. I've recommended Tennessee to a lot of people. Costs are low. Infrastructure is good. Population character is generally favorable. This could be a winner. Now, Newark, New Jersey. Newark has the advantage of being close to New York City, metropolitan area, while not being in New York City, and it's also not in New York State. It has the population and physical characteristics of being a place to go with some merit. They can get a lot of property close to the big cities and repurpose it for this. The state would offer it every concession available anywhere. Costs for workers, however, is very high. Without major tax incentives, this would not be a good option. You see, they have to keep those tax concessions going in perpetuity. New York City? Sorry, probably not. From a cost-effective standpoint, it just is not so good. I don't care how many concessions that come out of Albany. It would make Amazon just one more large company among many, and I don't think that's what they want. Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. Well, it's got the same problem that exists in each of these locations, and it has to do with availability or lack thereof of property to develop. Now, granted, it has wonderful populations, well-educated, motivated, but the price to develop a large facility so close to the capital would be prohibitive even if it was free. Then again, we have some draconian unions. Philadelphia, well, on one level, this would do so much good for southern New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. I think it would be crazy to pass it up as an option. It would, well, frankly, it could be done from the standpoint of the population, land, culture, all that. Now, I can really honestly hope and pray for it because I think it would be so much good for the state. But I'm a little reluctant to consider it too seriously because of crime and the associated costs. Pittsburgh. This would represent a major rebirth of the Rust Belt and could be a serious potential place. But you have to consider how this would influence eastern Ohio as well, which really needs the boost economically. I think it's a good place, by the way, to help Ohio and take advantage of what it's got in the state. The surrounding region could support and allow it to grow. Raleigh, North Carolina has always seemed like a comer to me, especially in high tech. It certainly has proven itself to be a high-tech friendly area with its universities and new businesses, and it has more than enough skilled people to make this a serious go. I would put it among the top 5 finishers. Toronto? Sorry. The tax structure that has just changed would doom the project. Canada is absolutely lovely, but it would cause all kinds of problems for the politicos in the United States. I just don't think they'd want to make that leap. It is worth noting that if there is a large dental company looking for terrific places to develop, my list of favorite cities should apply to them as well. And by the way, in the next versions of this, we're going to be talking about the places that you have to look at in 2018. This is Scott McDonald, and thanks so much for watching. Check us out at DrDemographics.com.